By the 1930s, America was in the midst of a depression. The threat of another great war was on the horizon. The U.S. Army had used all their money developing bombers. They were now too broke to develop bombs. On January 5, 1933, a memo was sent from the office of General Robert McHarris to the desk of Colonel Henry Allen.
We need a weapon to cause maximum damage after being launched by aircraft. This should cost no more than $100 to manufacture per unit and also contribute to healing our country's economic woes.
Most nights, Allen would read his son a bedtime story. Many of these stories involved the history of warfare.
One night he was reading me a chapter on the catapult. And when he got to the part on when, during a siege, if an army ran out of ammunition, they would use livestock, like cattle.
And he said he found a bomb for under 2 cents a pound.
General McHarris, in meeting with Colonel Allen, was pleased with the idea. Allen was promoted to the rank of Brigadier General and made head of what came to be termed the Cow Pow Project. Allen started the first phase of the Cow Pow Project with the appointment of a professor of veterinary science at Penn State, a Dr. Gustav Holzberg.
I remember I was impressed with the precariousness of the future, with the end of Western civilization as we know it. The Germans seemed to be the wave of the future. I wanted to be part of this movement, but I was told I didn't fit the specifications. I came here, to a new Vaterland. And so, I was proud to help against this end.
He was to coordinate colleagues around the country in researching the scientific requirements for cattle as weaponry. The operation, Rapid Rupture.
We found the notion of simply dropping beef carcasses on enemy targets to be too 12th century. There were too many factors in determining just how infectious a given dead anything could be. We discovered that we could fill the cattle's colons with certain diseases. We wanted the master race to suffer, wanted there to be no more babies.
Holzberg requested an isolated lab surrounded with lush grass for grazing, where the bomb could be designed and tested. Allen was able to appropriate a ranch in the sand hills of western Nebraska.
I was told to leave in '35.
Who told you?
The Corps of Engineers, federal judge, and so forth. They bought all my cattle too. I can never figure that one out. They weren't worth nothing back then. I just took the money, bought a store, and started selling panties.
General Allen officially recognized Holtzberg as scientific director of what was now called the Cottonwood site. His job was to round up a group of colleagues and their families, to live at a location that cannot be identified, to work on a project not to be mentioned. Six months after the scientists' arrival on March 4, 1936, an unmarked convoy of trucks appear at Cottonwood site. Inside, they carry several tons worth of serum containing tuberculosis, herpes, scabies, polio, scarlet fever, syphilis, and gonorrhea. Memo, 11 March, 1600 hours. Request personnel. Fill drums with materials from trucks. Work all night if necessary. Feed C units laxative-laced feed. 12th March, 300 hours. Assembly starts. V engineers begin material insertion. This may be done as slowly as engineers wish. Ensure colon pressure is not too strong per Holtzberg. 12th March, 600 hours. Rectal plugs in place. _12th March, 700 hours. All testing must be done before C units enter planes. 12th March, 900 hours. Load C units into bomb bays. Remove chains. Clear the deck.
We may not have the wealth of the fascists, but even sophisticated weaponry is no match for American ingenuity. As long as we have cattle, we shall have liberty.
It was quite thrilling. It was like water balloons.
At 12:08 p.m., 86,000 pounds of prime grade A beef rained down on the lush Nebraska prairie, with a disease potential 3 times that of all the red light districts of Rome, Milan, and Berlin combined.
That had to be the happiest day of Dad's life.
Rapid rupture was a success. A weapon now called the C-bomb was to become part of the U.S. arsenal. For the second phase of the project, posters were displayed at farm co-ops and county fairs. The operation, Moo Money.
I know that prices for me haven't been that good lately. But if you let me join the army, I'll serve you and our nation well. And it sure would be swell if you sold me. You could get Lizzie that new dress she needs for school. As for Sunday roast, go see Horton the hog. He says he'll do his best too if I can go away and make us proud.
thank you. Now 75. 25, thank you. Now 40. Yes, 25 and a quarter and a half and about a half and a half. Yes, 15, now 16, now 5, 17, 12, 17, 17, 17, 5, 17, 18, now 5, 85. Yes, 25.
Uncle Sam, buy my cattle, I can treat you like I should. Tonight you can have anything, the ocean, stars, and the moon. Uncle Sam, buy my cattle, don't you see, don't you see, don't you see? It's just you, my money, and me.
By late 1938, the U.S. Army now had over 1,000 head of cattle at their Cottonwood facility, and just in time. The following year, Hitler invaded Poland. The Second World War had begun, and we were ready.
Washington came a quick reaction to the first signs of a Second World War boom.
Now we have another war, which may tempt many farmers to abandon these programs. My advice to farmers is to continue to cooperate with the Department of Agriculture.
But with the progress of the war, the Great Depression was over. The military was not concerned about cheap weapons. The A-bomb was given preference over the C-bomb. Cow Pow was sent to greener pastures.
People should remember that the C-bomb wasn't a dud, and neither was my dad. He was a hero who came to his country's aid when they needed him.
At 98, Dr. Gustav Holzberg lives in Holstein Meadows Nursing Home in rural Pennsylvania. He believes he was a shoe salesman.
Anything society should remember about the C-bomb?
Yeah, we have wealth now, but if that day comes to an end, as long as we have cattle and STDs, we will survive.
No country bumpkins out bombing around. Let's hop a plane out to Chicago and get the best dress in town. And furs and pearl earrings too. You'll be the best dressed around. Then maybe New York, Paris or Rome, or to Miami for a stroll by the coast. Since Uncle Sam bought my cattle, I can treat you like I should. Tonight you can have anything, the ocean, stars, and the moon. Since Uncle Sam bought my cattle, don't you see, don't you see, don't you see? It's just you, my money, and me.
Tonight's program is brought to you by Geritol. More people use Geritol than you probably want to know. And by Pell Mell cigarettes. That smell, that taste, it could only mean Pell Mell. More tar means flavor. Fight bacon breath with Farmer Brown's Mint Bacon. It's Mitrific. And by I Eat Your Mama pancake syrup. Hey, when you eat this stuff and throw up blood, don't come crying to me because I eat your mama.
Since Uncle Sam bought my cattle, I can treat you like I should. Why, you can have anything, the ocean, stars, and the moon. Says Uncle Sam, buy my cattle, don't you see, don't you see, don't you see? It's just you, my money, yeah.